All right, good afternoon. This is Chris with Mustang Stocks, and I am excited. I'm going to be rich today. Yeah, so the name of the game today is NIO. We are just a couple hours before the pre-market starts. I'm here in Japan at 4 p.m. making this. I just got home from work, and I'm super excited because Saturday showing was awesome, NIO Day. I made a quick video. I was super tired staying up to watch that, so it wasn't necessarily the best video. But I think I got my point across, and I think I should be able to get my point across today how big I think this is going to be. So like I said, Saturday was super good, and we're going to get right into an analysis on NIO. So here we go. So I got the picture pulled up. It's the day view. You can see it all the way back to August when it was really low. And this is right when shortly after, right in here, right there is when I got into it. Or maybe it was back a little bit further, but somewhere right in here, right around the $17 mark, and went up and down, up and down, up and down, and then it started to explode, right? Which was great. Made some buco bucks, and I'm happy. I was one of those smart people that I set up a trailing stop loss up here when it hit its all-time high. That trailing stop loss kicked in at I think $54, and then dropped. And then I repicked it back up right around that $42 mark. So didn't lose much. Actually, didn't lose at all. I made a whole bunch of money and then just re-rolled those back into more shares. So is it too late to get into NIO? No, absolutely 100% not. It might cost you a little bit more, and trying to get into something long-term maybe more expensive to get into, but it's definitely not too late. And in fact, I don't think it's too late to get into it for this week. It's going to be more expensive. The premiums are going to be more expensive. Me personally, I have no intention of getting into just buying shares, right? I think I'm past the point of buying shares. Once it broke that $50 mark, I got a fair amount of shares. That it's something that'll give me a good outcome in years from now. But I'm looking at options, right? The call options available for NIO. 2 days before the market ends, I will sell some puts, and I'll just make money. All right, and that's definitely the name of the game. So what am I looking at here, right? Like I said, I'm looking at the day view. I got the 9-day moving average and the 20-day moving average. I got the MACD. So on this view, if you notice, the MACD is on its way up. If you look where it peaked out over here, compared to where it is now, it definitely has some room to grow. I will tell you that is this view. If you start looking at other views like an hour, 30 minutes, 5 minutes, right, that variable definitely changes. So it's important to look at each individual one. Go from the broad spectrum out quite a ways. So specifically the day, move into the 4 hour to the 1 hour, 30 minute, the 15 minute and the 5 minute, and eventually the 1 minute when the market actually opens. That way you get all the information possible, right? You're not just looking at it from one perspective, because I tell you, it changes. It changes quite a bit, and especially if you go from the day view all the way down to the 5 minute view, right? Night and day. You might look at it and be like, I'm not even looking at the same company, right? So why am I so bullish on NIO? Man, if you guys watched my last video, I know I didn't seem very excited, but I really was. I was just very tired. So it was a great event and great information that was put out. The new 150 whatever wattage battery, which is significantly better than what Tesla has. Moving to the future of solid state. Now that had me a little bit on edge after I stopped and thought about it for a while, because they're talking about adopting battery technology. They're not creating it. They're not engineering it. They're not the ones developing it. They're actually adopting it. Now, what does that mean? Well, unfortunately for NIO, that is like a little bit of a downfall, in my opinion. It's the only thing I really didn't like about it is the fact that the companies that they are adopting this battery technology from is the same companies that Tesla uses, that Ford is going to use, and all these other companies, right? So XPeng, Lee, Tesla, Ford, Mercedes, anybody that has anything associated, Hyundai, anybody that is looking at EV is really going through the same companies for this battery technology. So it's not necessarily going to be unique to NIO, which I think could potentially be a downfall. Now, what is unique to NIO is the fact that they deal with the battery swapping technology. Tesla tried to do it, or I should say they were going to get into it, but they never really followed through, and you don't see that anymore. So I think that's going to be potentially pretty huge for NIO, right? Plus, the extra added distance, the features that the car provides, everything looks good. It's pretty expensive. That definitely has their drawbacks. There are things that I didn't like about it, but they were vastly overshadowed by the things that I did. And ultimately, I think it was a very successful NIO day. It brought NIO into the proverbial limelight and introduced their company to the world. A lot of people are now talking about it, right? So the more talk, the more news, as long as it's positive, and it's going to benefit the company, right? So where do we stand share-wise? Well, we're floating right around that $59 mark and getting ready to head into the pre-market. I would fully expect to see, and I said this on my previous video, a 10% rise at least today. All right, so $59, $60. So we're looking at the $66 to $70 range, $66, $67, $68. And I think that's just today. All right. Ultimately, over the next month, I would expect to see it up in the mid to high 70s. Right, we're going to see a couple days of 10%, up 10%, down 5%, up 10 more percent, down 5%, up 10%, down 5%, and next thing you know, you're at $75 to $80, right? A lot of people are asking, but it's getting too expensive. I can't get into it. Yeah, it may be, right? If you're looking at buying shares, there might be better companies to look at, right? So cheaper companies that are also on the up and up that you can get into. You can buy more shares at a lower price. But I'm not talking buying shares. I'm talking about buying options, because that's definitely, in my opinion, the best way to go, especially right now. So I'm in a whole bunch. Now, I definitely have shares of NIO, but I am in a bunch of call options, 10 lots ending this week, 10 lots ending in 2022, 10 lots ending in 2023, right? That's no small amount, right? Every dollar rise is $1,000 gained. And we're talking, going up $10, it gets up there, and it gets up there right quick. And I'm looking at buying more. All right. So what am I looking at buying? Well, I'm thinking, let me backtrack a little bit. First thing I'm doing is I'm watching the pre-market to make a determination of exactly what I want to do. Ultimately, I want to buy more options, right? But I'm limited to my buying power. I don't necessarily want to get rid of some of the stuff that I have, because right now a lot of my money is tied up in investments, right? And right now, a significant portion is tied into NIO because I am that bullish. If NIO goes up $10, it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful day. So, all right, let's take a look though and get in here a little bit more. So we had this, pretty big rise from 23 all the way up to the original all-time high, just under 58 bucks. Definitely some consolidation, but you see what's developed here. So you've got a pretty damn good line of resistance, which we just broke through here. It might be a little bit lower actually. So somewhere right in there. And then what you got here is a great line of support somewhere in that right around 39 bucks, right? So and that's where this is floated in between. I mean, it was here. Obviously, it has to get there. So it got there. It got there in quite a hurry, and then it's just bounced back and forth. So it came up, almost touching that that all-time high here, coming back down, coming up, coming back down, up a little bit, working its way back up, but ultimately creating this really strong line of support with 39.50 mark, and then going up, getting back into those all-time highs around $58, $59. Right? Now, in the pre-market is what I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to be looking at the trend in the pre-market, and that's really going to determine what I'm going to do. In that pre-market, if the price already starts to go up, and I mean go up quite a bit, go from where it is now at $58.92 up to $61 or $62, I'm probably going to let things calm down before I actually get into another call option. Specifically, I'm going to wait till there's some sort of consolidation, let the price come back down. And it's very possible. Pre-market for NIO has been very volatile and not necessarily worth getting into, and almost impossible to set up your call options when the market is adjusting so much. You really got to make that determination right before the market opens on what you plan on doing. So I'm going to be watching the pre-market tonight in an hour and 45 minutes, and I'm probably just going to be staring at it aimlessly, watching what it does. Because that's what, like I said, that's what I'm going to make my next move based on. I don't really plan on doing hardly anything, working with any other company. I'm already in. I set up that CLNE that I talked about in the previous video. I got like a Tesla spread. I'm in, oh God, what else am I in? Pull out the handy dandy notebook. All right, Riot. I got a few call options ending there, which, by the way, made bank with Riot this past couple weeks. It's looking great. Like I said, Tesla spread option. I was in a debit spread for QS. Not doing so hot there. I'm actually negative, but not too bad. I'm still capable of getting money and getting a little bit of a return from that. And it doesn't end until the end of the week, so who knows? Maybe it'll be back up. Vertical spread on GHIV. Call option on ARC ending on the 22nd. Another one that just made absolute bank for me. I'm almost 200%. Workhorse, that's been off and on, been up, been down. Right now I got one call option on January 22nd that's up. Sundial, I got a crap ton of puts that I did. I think eventually that's going to take off, just a matter of when. So at this point I'm doing like hundreds of puts, selling hundreds of puts, getting like anywhere from $7 to $70. And, sometimes I end with having an extra $70 in my pocket, or I end with a discounted price for sundial growers. So we'll see where that ends. I might just end up with I don't know, something ridiculous like 20,000 shares of sundial growers, but regardless, we'll see how that is. Like I said, the call option of CLNE. Now, although I'm down right now, I still stand by what I said in the previous video. That's going to go up. As long as you pick the February 19th call option, you should be good. I expect that to come up. CBET, I'm in a call option all the way out until looks like July. That one's up, looking good. Nano Dimension, NNDM, I got a call option out to August. That is also up. PLTR out to January of 22. That is unfortunately not up, but I fully expect that one to make a turn, eventually start hitting new all-time highs once it rebounds. And then NIO out to 2022 and NIO out to 2023, which are not only up, but are eventually going to go through the roof. And then, various companies that I have just shares in: NIO, DBX, Mara, Blink, SPCE, Bloom, MP, Peloton, and that's it. God, saw that. The last thing I saw was Plug. Really wish I didn't get out of Plug. That one hurts my heart a little bit. But yeah, so that's everything that I'm in right now in various stages. Some are with my, take $100 and turn it into $1 million using primarily just vertical spreads, and then my more long-term investment one, which is really just Johnson & Johnson, NIO, PLTR, and a couple others that are a little bit longer out there, my long-term investments. So different profile or portfolio. All right. So you just take a snapshot where we were on the 29th all the way till where we are now, the 10th. So a couple weeks, positive trend in the upward direction. A couple times you get a little bit of consolidation. So up, consolidate, up, consolidate, up a little bit, consolidate, big consolidation. And now we're in this bullish run. Fully expect this bullish run to continue on based on NIO Day. So let's move this back down a little bit more. Looking at the hour view. Yeah, I mean, look at, so maybe this needs to go up a little bit more. Maybe this was more at like $58.50. That looks pretty good. Maybe up a little bit more. But like I said, for the most part, if you look over the past quite a while now, I mean, all the way back to November, all the way back to November, it has been basically up and down through this channel. All right, and here's NIO Day, and we start to really get all that word that NIO Day is around the corner, and it starts busting out, starts breaking those new highs. Where does it go next? And remember how I talked about the MACD on the day view compared to the hour view? Now it kind of looks like we might be hitting that the threshold and coming back down. All right, so that is not necessarily the best indicator of a bullish run. This tells me that NIO could do a little bit more consolidation down. All right, and this is why looking at that pre-market and seeing what the share price does in the pre-market is going to be so important. Because if I see movement in the upward direction, then I'm going to expect to see that this is just going to be a double hump for overbought. All right, so it's going to be overbought, come back down, and then come back up as an overbought. So if you look at that in terms of, you know, a sine wave, you're going to have an inverted negative portion. So you get your initial hump and then another initial hump, both times overbought, which you'll see a rise up through new highs. All right, if for some reason it does come back down, I would expect to see some consolidation. I don't necessarily think it's going to come back to this area right here, or not when there's definitely other lines of support. But you might see a little bit of consolidation, maybe even at first, right out the gate. I don't think that's what is going to happen. I don't think you're going to see a little bit of consolidation and then break through to new highs. I think the pre-market is just going to start going up, and up, and up, probably around that $60 mark, maybe even a little bit more, 60, 50, and then the market hits, and I guess we are, let's do this. Yeah, so we're like right here. Might see a little bit of rise here in the pre-market up to about $60. Maybe that's a little bit high. Where are we at? We're at 59.07 right now. So maybe just under $60 for pre-market pricing, and then once the market hits, it's going to jump up, and it's just not going to stop. I'm guessing you'll probably start seeing it at around $62 before it starts consolidating down, maybe even consolidating back down to the $59 or $60 mark before it starts coming back up. Needless to say, it's going to go up and start consolidating, go up and consolidate. It's just a matter of how much and when. We are at the especially looking at the 1 hour view, we are high in the overbought region, so I would expect to see this start to come back down. You got these conflicting items. You've got NIO Day, which was so successful, but you're on the up end of the overbought. But ultimately, I think you're reaching out to new investors. I think it was a positive reach out, so more people are going to be interested and more people are going to start investing. So I think you're going to stay in that overbought region a little bit more, jump up to the low 60s, consolidate a bit, go back up to the mid 60s, consolidate a little bit, and then up to the high 60s. Ultimately, by the end of today, I would expect to see it around $66, $67. I think, like I said before, $66.96 is what I would plan on seeing it. All right, so that's just shy, it's around about 10%, and I think that's where we're going to see it. So let's take a quick look at the 30-minute. Oh, shit. Yeah. Definitely above. So this is the thing that's is above the 9-day, above the 9-day, and dips a little bit below. Above the 9-day, dips a little bit below, and above the 9-day, you know, it's very possible that we might see a little bit of dip below the 9-day, maybe going back down initially in the pre-market to this 58, 55 mark, and then coming back up. Oh, we'll see. Either way, that actually wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. Coming down in the pre-market would allow those contracts, the contract premiums, to drop in price a little bit, which means you can get into more, right? I would love to get into 10 more call options. Let's see what they're offering right now. So So for call options, go off to January 22nd for strike prices of, we'll say a break even of 62.15 with a strike price of $54.50 is $7.65 right now. If it comes back down, if it comes down in the pre-market a little bit to that 58, you're probably going to save, not too much. It's still going to be over $700, but that's really not bad. A break-even price of $62 when it's currently 59, that's 5%, right? So you're going to gain another 5% at least throughout the week on top of that, right? So going up to $66 or $67, that's a $500 rise. That's almost it's like a 75-80% return in just a few days, right? Which is excellent. So doing something like that, but doing it for 10 lots, if you can afford it, would be great. You're looking at about $7,000 if you do that. But spend $7,000, walk away with $12,000 or $13,000. Not bad. And that's just if it hits my mark of $66. There's some crazy people out there that are talking, and analysts, like where this is their actual job. I'm not a financial expert. Those guys are actual financial experts, and they're talking about how it could break $100 over the next week. I think they're absolutely crazy. Right, that's very, very optimistic. I don't think NIO Day was all that much, but they're saying like they expect to see huge rises over the next month. But I'm definitely going to pretty much spend all the buying power that I have, and maybe even look at some of my things that are getting ready to close just to get some more buying power. And get into 10, 15, or 20 more lots of NIO closing on the 22nd or later. Probably not going to get into anything that finishes this week. All right, I'm already in some of those. So January 15th, I'm already in for I think 10 lots, 10 or 20, I don't remember. But going out to the 22nd, maybe getting another 10 lots, and maybe even out another 7 days to the 29th, get another 10 lots or something along those lines. We'll see. But looks pretty good. Like I said, watch the pre-market, see what it does. One of the areas of concern that I have is right here, this gap. This gap right here. Typically stocks will drop to fill in gaps. NIO has already not done that once, and that was earlier on. I don't remember which view that was in. Yeah, here you go. You see this? Now it kind of did, and it technically did when it dropped down, but it didn't close there, right? It closed at 50.55, but it did drop down to 49, which filled this little bit of a gap in. So maybe that was just enough to fill it in. But if you notice, this is a little bit different right here, right? This gap to here, and then this gap all the way to here. This did not fill that back in. So there's still a little bit of a gap. So very possible that this drops back down to fill that gap in the mid 55 range. So like I said, maybe a little bit of consolidation before it jumps back up. You just got to watch. I think a lot is going to be determined in the pre-market and give you some answers. Ultimately, what I'm planning on doing is getting into a call option between now. So like I said, I'm already in call options that end on the 15th. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that because the premium that you're paying and the result, I would take it out to the 5th or the 22nd. So I would make it out to 2 weeks, and if you want to close early, you can, or you can let it ride but I think your best bet is looking out to the 22nd. Get something that is in the money now, so the strike price is already below the share price, and the break even the break even is somewhere just over that, right? Maybe just a few dollars higher. So if the current price right now is 59, I would look at break even points at maybe 60, 61, or 62, whatever you can look at and whatever you can kind of afford, right, with buying power. But either way, if you pick something less than $63 or $64, I think you're making a good choice, because I expect it to be greater than $66, and probably greater than $66 today. So you heard it from me. You actually heard it from me almost 10 days ago when I predicted 66.96. So we'll see how it goes. NIO Day was a huge success. That's pretty much all I'm focused on today. Not really worried about getting into anything else. I might do some small things here and there. Maybe get into a couple day trades. We'll see what the Discord says. The various Discords that I'm on, watch some more news and see if I pick up on anything. If we do, I'll let you know. I'll be streaming live at 8 on Twitch. Mustang Stocks, again, you can find me there. And like it, subscribe it, leave the comments, do your thing, make your money. Yeah, man, just make your money. All right, we out. Later.